Kalimera, kalispera, kalinikta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm a little bit livid, if I'm being honest. Hasn't happened in a long, long time. But you know what? Let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls, no matter where in this wild, crazy, and wonderful world you might be. Appreciate you jumping on at again, wacky hour for Highbury Squad. But I'm thinking these 10 o'clock shows I'm into. I get fired up during the day here. And by the time it gets to the evening time for you guys in old Blighty and those waking up in other parts of the world, it feels like good timing. I know that there might be other things going on, other things you're listening to or watching. So those watching on replay, I so appreciate you. Please don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so to the show already. How is everyone feeling today after, okay, admittedly, an exceptionally boring Champions League match against Atalanta? But my goodness, the absolute fallout from that game, I just don't understand. Firstly, my squaddies, my wingmen and women, at ease, at ease, at ease. Let's say hello to some of the folks in the chat and be prepared because I haven't ripped and gone off in a very long time. This might be it. Gold Planet, good evening to you. Some Arsenal fans can be very disappointing. We have to support Gabby. Absolutely. We're going to get to all of that. Chief Flight Officer, please do listen to Tammy because, you know, what she says goes. Archangel tuning in from Australia. Amazing. Tammy's birthday. Tammy, our Chief Flight Officer, happy birthday to you. I won't sing to you like Marilyn Monroe did to the president, but happy birthday to you. We wish you the very best. Health and happiness to you always. And thank you for being the epic human that you are. Carol, good evening to you. PW, Yasu Diganis, hello from the Lone Star state of Texas to Lone Star Londoner. Ian is here. Thank you as always. Demsek is here. And a whole bunch of you are here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ayushman is here. Wesbird, Galispera. Hello, Mr. Soph. I need you to speak sense. It's coming. It is absolutely coming. Chemo, great topic. Look forward to this one. I'm telling you, I've been on coals all day. Cliff, hello. Mark, hello. Yusuf, hello. Listen, basically, hello to each and every one of you. Thank you so much. And here's the example why I'm all riled up. Hello, I'm pretty mad. Last night was winnable. Champions League is very tough. One more winnable game. No, not one of Arteta's brightest European games. I beg to differ. Hello, Mark. How are you? Mark, the winner of our football prizes last week. Don't forget, Benjamin White Calafiori, part of the Arsenal defense that I'm going to defend in just a minute. Go get your ticket, okay? Benjamin White Riccardo Calafiori, signed double display. You're not going to win or miss out on this. Go to footballprizes.co.uk and you can be a winner. All right? Now, let's talk. Before I get stuck into something, I want to play something for you guys. And I have played this often on this show. All right? And I think it's fundamentally important that there's context and a little bit of history in terms of what is going on and what the narrative around the Arsenal Football Club is. Listen, for those who are new, I'm going to come clean because our regular listeners know I was not an early adopter of Mikel Arteta. I used to fight on this show with Super Kev all the time. And he used to say to me, it's the players, it's the players. And even though I believed that the team would emerge as we want it to be, once the manager was able to build a squad in his image. Okay. But I did not see the Mikel Arteta strengths. When I look at my SWOT analysis, all I could see was weaknesses and threats. I didn't see strengths and opportunities. But in the season where we challenged for top four when no one was expecting us, and yes, we lost out to Tottenham in the end. We had horrible injuries. Rob Holding gets sent off. We lose 3-0 away and it was over. But I defended him and I defended the players and I defended the club. And that was the season for me where everything changed, where I could finally see a roadmap, a path, a way forward. And a lot of the times, because he played under Arsene Wenger, Mikel Arteta gets compared to Arsene Wenger. Whereas for me, he is very much more so George Graham. We've had Perry Grove say that on the show. We've had David Hillier say that on the show. And Super Kev used to say that on the show all the time. And he may even be a hybrid. He may be a mix of both of them. But Mikel Arteta, I think, is even more ruthless than George Graham. Doesn't suffer fools. He cleared the decks. He was empowered by the club. And he was able to morph and mold this Arsenal team in his image. And finally, a manager given the power to do so versus a manager who took the power and perhaps stayed a little bit too long in his tenure. No disrespect to Arsene Wenger. I'm so grateful and thankful for everything he did for this football club. Not only did he change Arsenal or evolve Arsenal, because George Graham, I think, really changed Arsenal. Arsene Wenger then picked up and evolved Arsenal into a new century. And he also changed English football. And when Sir Alex Ferguson credits you for that too, I'm good with that. But the last 7 or 8 years in the Premier League, other than finishing fourth, which was a trophy, self-labeled, we weren't competitive. We weren't great. No one feared us. No one cared about us. We were irrelevant. We were a big club, but we were a big club doing small things. And the FA Cups saved his soul and our souls altogether. That's my humble opinion. It's not fact. It's just an opinion. So you have to look at things in context, okay? It is September. And of course, the injury to Martin Odegaard I imagine this is what it feels like to get kicked in the balls. And for men, just know that this is what pain feels like when you have the monthly gut ache. TMI, I don't care. I'm just trying to equate it so you can understand. It's painful. And it's evident over the last 2 games that creating chances is going to be Mikel Arteta's biggest challenge of all. And I know that he will figure that out. A man I've doubted, but a man who's continually proven to me that he makes the best decisions for the club. I wasn't on board with the David Raya thing at first, proven wrong. Some of you were not on board with Kai Havertz, proven wrong. We can go on and on and on. Those are the prime examples. But where the Arsenal's beef with the media, with opposing fans begins, started a long, long time ago. So I want to play something for you, like I said, like I've played on this show often. And also, I believe what you're about to watch, if you haven't seen it, and you're watching it for the first time, this to me is the closest thing to Mikel Arteta and George Graham, I think, are very super close in terms of their philosophy and their ruthlessness and their management. I think we were underestimated for some great football we played in the late 80s and early 90s. And I think our pragmatism was taken for boring, boring Arsenal. Long live boring, boring Arsenal. I'll take it all day long if it yields success. Okay? And then fast forward to the Wenger era. They hated us even more. Why? Because theirs isn't gold. There's no other explanation. Manchester City took the treble bragging rights away from Manchester United. United had that over everybody in English football. Manchester City took that away from them. And please be aware that this season, it wouldn't surprise me if Pep Guardiola's main goal is to take the Invincibles' bragging rights away from us. He wants to conquer English football in ways nobody else has, regardless of the 115 charges and what is alleged charges and what is happening now. He's concentrating and focusing on the football. Whatever happens after that, we'll either celebrate it or we'll be spitting blood for the rest of our football lives. But Wenger also irritated the English football universe by taking the Arsenal unbeatable throughout an entire season. They hate us for it. They loathe us for it. They want to continually tell us that we're losers, that we're a small club. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of it. I'm over it. It's time for Arsenal fans to take a beat, to realize what's happening, even within our own fan base, on social media, on YouTube channels. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait. You know what? Is it okay to be positive? Is it okay to believe in your club? Is it okay to have thought one thing before and now you believe in another? Is it okay to think that a 0-0 result against the Europa League champions, who everyone was lauding last season, is a great result for a first away game in a Champions League format that none of us have seen before? Is that okay? Is it okay to go to your enemy and score them in defensive football and nick a goal and win 1-0? Will it be okay to go to the Etihad on Sunday and get a 1-1 draw or get a draw or come away with a point against a team that nobody can beat, but we got 4 points off last season? It's September. It's not over. Anything is possible in football. But for me, this is where it started. I want to play this, have a listen, and then we'll go from there.
Number two, it's the first opportunity I've had to talk to everybody after the tribunal decision. And the media are enjoying it. The majority of the media are enjoying it. They're enjoying us getting all this stick, because normally nothing comes out of Highbury, right? And they're enjoying it. Again, lads, there's one way to handle it. Just keep winning matches. They're looking at us, and the stick we've been getting the last couple of weeks, right? It seems fashionable just now to jump in the bandwagon and get into Arsenal. It's fashionable. We're not second bottom, we're second top. And that's what they're second. We're second top of the league. And it's the best start we've had for over 40 years. So keep thinking football all the time. Okay? Think of football. And you should all be proud of yourself. And make sure we'll work hard individually and collectively. Right? We're all professional people. You've all got responsibilities to yourself and your families. And keep that in your mind at all times, right? The lads, if we stay together as a unit within the club, and even now, I'm trying to sort of get the crowd right with us. And we've got to get the fans on our side a lot more, like they do up north, especially at home. Right? We've got to get them, included in it, because I'm getting loads and hundreds of letters telling us, right, about how unfair it is that the media are jumping on top of the bandwagon. Why are we getting bad press? We've got to get the fans on our side. You go up north, it's almost like a gold star. You go to places up there, and then we've got to do the same with our fans. And I'll put them up. Don't worry about that. But lads, we've got to watch our behaviour. I'm telling you right now. And that means we've still got to tackle, we've still got to close down, we've still got to challenge. It was one of.
That to me is quintessential George Graham. Some of you may be old enough to remember that. Some of you are young enough to maybe not have seen it. And some of you somewhere in the middle where you heard about it, but you've seen it on the old YouTube. This is exactly what's happening right now. Now, at that time, it was towards the end of the season, right? But I played that clip towards the end of last season when people were talking about us choking and being bottlers. Keep it coming. Keep all the abuse coming. The dartboard that is Arsenal Football Club has lived not only now during the Arteta years, but it lived through the Wenger years and through the George Graham years. It is astonishing to me how even after, and remember, this coming from an early non-adopter, how nobody, okay, not nobody, but so many in the media still will not recognize and give credit where it's due. And the only time we're going to get respect is if we win the Premier League. And this is something that we have to accept. So this is why I've decided, as of today, I'm cutting out the noise. I don't care. This is coming from someone who does segments on TalkSport. Okay, but when I'm on TalkSport and I'm talking to either the Sports Bar or to Paul Ross or to the Weekend Breakfast Show or Max Rushton, we're talking football. We're having a conversation. It's not about riling someone up in order to get them to click or to write a headline that is to get them to click and watch. And a lot of the times you'll click on a headline and there's nothing about even what the headline says. And Arsenal have fallen victim to that in our own fan base and in the media as well. And I'm over it. How can you say that a point at Atalanta is a bad result when we're trying to figure out one of the biggest challenges Mikel Arteta has had since he's taken over as Arsenal manager? And for those of you who ever doubted Martin Odegaard and thought that he wasn't up to scratch and he was a little overhyped and a little overrated, do you think that now? Our defense, okay, is immense. And a lot of the times I've been told that winning championships starts in the defensive area. And we have been craving for this for years. And I want to give you a little reminder before I get to some of the comments, because I remember doing shows, maybe not on this channel early on, but perhaps, yes, on this channel early on, but also on other channels. Never forget where we came from. Okay, it's all well and good seeing Xhaka in this shot, who redeemed himself in his last season. I like Xhaka. He was amazing in his last season for Arsenal. There were question marks about him. He had probably one of the best football comebacks. Some people call it the greatest football comeback and story ever, the connectivity with fans. Stop. Don't forget. All right? I only use the rearview mirror to check my lipstick, but that doesn't mean that I forget certain things and moments, because sometimes Arsenal fans need reminding of where we've come from and where we've been. And the type of squad we used to bitch and moan about and complain about. Ozil had all the talent in the world, and some of you may say they didn't build around him and we didn't build a defense. Correct, we did not. But they showed so much apathy. Look at this picture in the tunnel before a game. You know the picture that I'm going to show you compared to this. It is night and day. We have gone from this and this and this to this, that, this. People forget. They really do forget where we were. I'm happy we won those FA Cups under Arsene Wenger. I really am. Mikel Arteta blew it too in the semi-final of the Europa League, but he learned from that. Emery has won every European final he's been in, except the one that he managed for us. Why? We go 2-0 down against Chelsea. There's no fight. They didn't care. They didn't believe. Fake kissing the badge and all that stuff. Arsenal was broken. We were a mess. We weren't even a hot mess. We were just a mess. And here we are, the only team, other than Liverpool, but in the last 2 seasons, Liverpool fell away, remember? Imagine if we had done that last season. They already threw the darts at us anyway, but imagine if we had ended up with Liverpool's season in terms of the Premier League. If it wasn't for us, the Premier League would have been absolutely dogshit boring in the last 2 years. You crying for a striker. We scored the most goals in our history last season, more than the Invincibles. Some of you yesterday were like, this is an example of why we need a striker. Maybe you don't realize how Mikel Arteta actually wants to play the game. And maybe you need to understand that we need to get through these next 2 games, 3 actually, the Tottenham game, Atalanta, and Manchester City, having been given a major uppercut blow that Martin Odegaard is injured and will be injured for a long time, so we need to hustle and figure it out. But all of this nonsense and narrative that we're boring. Do you remember the times when managers used to get credit for being pragmatic? Jose Mourinho was lauded for being boring. Italian managers are lauded. Look at that defensive display. Oh, so good. We play champagne football. They want to nail us. We play pragmatic defensive football. They want to nail us. I'm okay with the others, but not with our own fans. It's September. There's a long way to go. Anything can happen in football. I won't accept it from people like Jamie O'Hara. Jason's a good friend of the show. Arsenal boring to watch. Ripping into Arsenal fans. This, my dears, is all for the watch. They're jealous. Tottenham fans would love to be us right now. We broke them last weekend. They thought they were going to beat us because Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice weren't playing. What Arsenal fans should be saying is, despite losing 2 of our best players and having an almost broken Thomas Partey and a supposed aging Jorginho, we won the game. Set pieces, the extra inches. Look what's happened in our last 2 games. Okay. You might not get the goals, but we're prepared like no other team other than maybe Manchester City. What won us the game was a set piece. Nikola Jova, an incredible job he's done since he's been here. Yesterday, David Raya, double save. Incredible. Some people insinuating the second save was in the middle. I say, he saved us yesterday. This is what football's all about. This is what team sport is all about. When others don't step up, there's others to step in. And I've eaten crow, and I've said on this show, I may not have been happy about how it went about and what was going on behind the scenes at times, but the decision to go with Raya was right. And yesterday, he saved us. And the reaction from his teammates, this happens often, depending on who the savior is. And yesterday, it was David Raya. And William Saliba's tackle in the final third in the box. Unbelievable. What we've been able to do in our last 2 games is get results in specialist areas and positions. Set pieces and a penalty. I believe the goals will come. I believe that there's going to be an adjustment. I trust that the team is going to get there. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to click at some point. But let me tell you something. It's not over yet. And I know this may come back to haunt me depending on the result on Sunday. But even then, what if they run into injuries? What if they run into problems? And you never know what's going to happen with this court case. We've got to keep up the tempo and the momentum, because finishing second can result in finishing first. And some people may come at me with pelters on that one. But it's the truth. It's the reality that we live in today in the Premier League and in modern day football. I'll tell you what I will not have. Now, there was an episode that was recorded but didn't come to air that Tom did with Kevin on the Opinionated show, and it was about scapegoats. And I mentioned Xhaka earlier, and he was a scapegoat. There were times where he was awful and he cost us, absolutely, but he became a scapegoat. Last season, Zinchenko became a scapegoat. And this season, Martinelli, the once boy wonder, is becoming your scapegoat. We can't have this. I will defend Martinelli. I've said on this show that he deserves to play out of his funk. I like Trossard as a super sub. I think what Martinelli offers going back, and a lot of people have criticized him in these last few games. And there's no doubt he needs to look up, and I've criticized him for that. He needs to pass the ball earlier, criticized him for that. But he offers something to Mikel Arteta right now that this team needs in the midst of trying to figure out how we're going to move going forward without Martin Odegaard. And we have options, we do. But to annihilate this player and to say he's finished and he's reached his ceiling, and I even had to tell James Green on Monday, I think you're wrong. I think what he's been asked to do is different to what you want to see him do based on the Martinelli you know. He's selfless. This player is absolutely selfless. And he runs his heart. Sometimes it's like Rudy. I feel like he's going to run and his heart's going to burst. Don't tell me Martinelli's finished. He's not. And the way that we go at players because they run into some bad form, let him play into form. He still offers something when you've got creativity around you, okay? He offers something that we need going back. There's gaps. And Martinelli fills those gaps. And we have enough talent that's going to come together going forward to get goals. We've proven that season over season under Mikel Arteta. And it will come good. But to make him a scapegoat, I find very distasteful. People forget very quickly what players do for their club. And Archangel, exactly, Sophie. If Martinelli doesn't do what Arteta asks, he doesn't get picked. This is it. This is exactly it. The manager is asking him to do something specific right now. And he does need support on the left side. Marino will help when he comes in, but he's not there now. Odegaard's not there now. Timber isn't the ball-carrying defender going forward like Zinchenko and Calafiori. We saw what Calafiori offered when he came on. We are going to figure those things out. But to rip him to pieces, to shred him to bits, I find really, actually, I said distasteful. I find it disgusting. It's not as if we've lost either. Can you imagine if we lost? What the narrative would be? I'm going to get some of your comments up. Let's go find some of them. That was 26 minutes. I'll get off my soapbox now. Defending Martinelli and long live boring, boring Arsenal. What do you guys think about this too? I'll take boring, boring Arsenal. I put these up on Monday's show. Partnerships we talked about. We dreamed of this. Are you joking? Nick a goal, win. And by the way, well done, Ray Parler, for saying that Jamie was embarrassing. And his comments were embarrassing. It's a good job that there are some of us who are on TalkSport who fight back. Alex Crook saying we're toothless. Mate, you support Man United. You're the most toothless team in the Premier League right now. Your players, last season, you won the FA Cup. How Ten Hag got that team together to beat Manchester City on that day. Amazing. But just think, were they trying to get their manager fired by performing the way they were in the Premier League? They showed up that day. Where was that team the whole season? You want to talk about toothless? Your team is toothless. Unbelievable. It really is crazy to me. In some ways, you should take pride in the fact that we're so clickable. You write a headline about the Arsenal, everyone dives in. It's really, you know, compliment maybe in some ways. Didn't think of it until now. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Yeah, I'll tell Crookie. Lynn, it's so good to see you in chat. We hope you're feeling well. Lynn, one of our OGs, hasn't been feeling well lately, squaddies. Please send her some love and some best wishes. So happy to see you here, Lynn. God bless you. We've missed you a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Okay, Jesus is coming back from an injury. All right. Again, not going to go there. I'm not going to rip Jesus to pieces. He has been good for us when he's been available. He's actually a missing link that we probably need the most in Odegaard's absence. So he's going to need to get match fit and get match fit quick. Because that connectivity, that way the midfield marries and meets with our forward line, the fluidity, the ability to see beyond just the first ball. Jesus is going to be exceptionally important. So we need him to get up to speed and up to scratch. But he hadn't played football in a long, long time. And I don't think it's fair to come down on him. Now, 3, 4, 5 games in, sure. You know. Yes, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, let me get some of your comments in. What should we, let's see, where are we going? I know he's always coming back from an injury. But when he does play, he's valuable. Some players are worth hanging around for. And right now he's one of them, right? So let's hope he can come back and be normal. I know. I hear you. I can't argue that point. Amira, Martinelli's doing everything right except looking up. Yes. That's something he needs to learn. It's hard for a player when they get stuck into bad habits. That is definitely one that he's going to have to learn. It's okay to accept that Martinelli is not that guy at the moment. He's not the guy that you want him to be at the moment, but he's the guy Arteta wants him to be. And that's the most important thing. Definitely that cross at the Tottenham game more than anything. The shot over the bar in the Champions League, that was offside anyway. I dream of titles not just being on the conversation. We all do. But it's been a long time since we've even been here. And it takes time to get there. It does. Look at the mighty Manchester United. They've done bugger all in the Premier League since Sir Alex Ferguson left. Give me boring Arsenal any day. Yep. Let's see. What else do we got? Someone said that since we are not creating that many chances, the focus is on the chances we created. This is a very fundamental, important part, which is why, yes, we need to make sure that a team that didn't take all their chances last season, but still scored the most goals they've ever done in the history of their Premier League, need to take their chances when they come. That is a fact. But this is also a team that have had players, think about from last season to this, Euros, Copa America, come back, then they go on international duty again. I'm sorry, but this is relevant. There was once a great player on this show that didn't buy into fatigue, and I always used to argue that. But there's these days, these players, what they've been asked to do, it's insane. It's Declan Rice is absolutely not the same player so far this season. That guy needs a nap. Martinelli leaning back and skying his shot is the shape of a player desperate to score and lacking in composure. He'll fix it in training. Correct. He will fix it in training. What else have we got up here? Zinni was caned because he was and is a shit defender. Oops. But I agree about Martinelli. Okay. I read that out loud. He's not. Listen, let's not. Okay. He was poor at defending last season, but he's not the only reason that we made mistakes and conceded goals. And I won't have it. Zinchenko still can bring value to this team. 20 minutes to go in a game. How much would you have liked Zinchenko to come on yesterday? Oh, that's right. We had Calafiori. It's not so bad. We just got to figure it out. You got Saliba, you got Gabriel, you got Benjamin White, you got Calafiori, you've got Timber, you've got Havertz, you've got Jorginho, you've got Declan Rice, Sterling, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard. Waneri could be the trump card. Simmer down. Take the temperature down in the room. Chemo, always good to see you. Thank you as always. We're going to be tapping into your photos this season. I know it, I'm sure. We shouldn't be reacting to tribalism, trolling and clickbait from rival fans, but call out negativity and scapegoating from our own fans. There's a difference between a fan and a supporter. 100%. 100%. Absolutely. Let's see. What else we got up here? Yeah, come on, you Gunners. I'm feeling confident about Sunday. Why wouldn't I? I'll leave this one up here for you guys to read to yourselves. Let's see. What else have we got? Let's get a couple of other comments. Lone Star thinks Martinelli is going to score on Sunday, and I will be there with my cappuccino. I'm lying. Probably a Bloody Mary. I'm loving this rant and fact, says our chief like officer. If you love it too, hit the like button, please. Share it with your mates and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate that. Very, very much. That's really, what do you guys have to say? Let me know. There's so many comments. I was so busy on my rant that I missed a lot of them while I was ranting. But I think it was a strategic rant without going over the cliff. You guys can let me know. Marks out of 10 for the rant. And we'll go from there. But yeah, let me just see if I can find some Peppermint Freedom. That's a nice name. If Wenger had left, we'd have fallen down to mid-table obscurity. Your savior actually took us down there before spending 500 million quid. Wow. I don't know. Peppermint Freedom. There was a time where we could have had Pep Guardiola ourselves. All I hear from Wenger of late is who he could have signed and what he could have done. Why didn't he do it? The power he had to sign some of the players and never did. I'm sorry. GP Young, glad I could catch you, Soph. Gaz from Kiwiland. Love my Kiwis. I do absolutely love my Kiwis. I don't think anyone is denying that progress has been made. There are some deniers. Sperotta. There are a few out there. There's no doubt. Nico, talk about the attack. We all know our defense is one of the best. Our attack was one of the best in the league last season. We scored the most goals in our Premier League history. The season has just started. There's fatigue. We've got injuries. We are going to figure this out. I get you, Sperotta. I do. I really do. But, you know. Thank you, Mr. Leo G. Oh dear. Let's see. They don't like us and we don't care. Well said, Mikey. George knew, Mikel knows. 100%. This is you guys reacting to the George Graham video. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you think. If you're watching this on replay, and I hope you are, in the YouTube comments. I wanted to hop in and have my voice heard, but I want to hear your voices too. Hillary says, if you accept the praise when things are going well, he should be able to accept the criticism. That's life. There's criticism and then there's beatdowns. And a little bit of what's been happening with Martinelli over the last couple of weeks is a beatdown. And he doesn't deserve that, Hillary. I said on my segment with Paul Ross yesterday, I talked about David Raya, And I said, my criticism of the decision, my praise of the decision has to be as loud as my criticism was. And I just think sometimes in our business, in this business in particular, people just want to be right. But during that time, if I'm wrong, my team succeeds. If I complain about Martinelli now and he scores on Sunday, you know what? Good, let me be wrong, because it means he does well and the team does well. Some of it is just for show, people. 30-year career in film entertainment. I know what they're looking for, but that doesn't always mean you've got to do it. Let the Netflix and the Hulus deal with that. When we're talking about our club and players and people, it's real, it's raw, it's emotional, it's opinionated, it's all of those things. There's no need to be abusive, you know? Or sensationalistic. You can be on fire. Some of the most passionate people have the best views. Some of the quietest people have the best views. I'm just so tired of everything being a fire when it's September. If this was May, fine. Might be a different conversation. And I love all of your opinions and I respect them. And I've been supersonic. I've gone mental on this show. It's been a long time. And maybe sometimes things happen and you realize, yes, it's a game of football and I care about it and I love it, but I'm not going to kill someone over it. I'm going to ride them hard if I think that, you know, I have an opinion that is strong, but I'm not going to be abusive. And I'm certainly not going to create a narrative that allows more views and clicks. It's just never been my style. All right. What we got? If every single person hit the like button on the way out, it's free to come into the club. All right. You've got your wristband. So if you hit the like button on the way out, we'd have quite a few. And I think I would love for you to do that. Kettle's boiled. Who's got the biscuits? Listen, I love you guys tons and tons. You're awesome. And I hope you did catch the video that I played at the beginning with George Graham. And I'll share that. I'll put the link for that into the description of the show, because there's an agenda. So many people in the media tell me, so stop it, there's no agenda. I beg to differ. When you're so clickable like the Arsenal are, there's an agenda. No doubt. A Mourinho side in Europe would have been praised for that performance against Atalanta. So clever. Just being smart, not taking any risks, taking a point away from home. It's the first game of the Champions League, new format. You don't want to go into a hole. You don't want to do that to your players, especially when you've lost your captain and your talisman. Arsenal. Oh, it's so boring. It's anti-football. What's Arteta done to Arsenal? It's just so bad. It's just awful. Who wants to watch that? Shut up. That's all I've got for tonight, kids. The good news is I'm going to be back after the Manchester City game. All right. And let's hope that, oh no, it looks like the stream was deleted on Facebook. Why? Sorry about that, Facebookers. Apologies. You can catch it on YouTube, though. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for jumping into the show at last minute's notice. I had to get this off my chest. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. I can't wait to hear your opinions, those listening on replay as well. To all of those in the chat, thank you for sharing your thoughts with me as well. Some really great comments. I'm sorry I didn't get to as many of them tonight. I just wanted to get a few things off my chest. As you know, we are the show that always has been and always will be the one that never accepts super chats and reads everybody's comment out as much as we possibly can. Newman, late to the show, but your comment is valid. Thank you so much. Lots of trolls here tonight. I didn't see any of them. I'm so focused on what I'm saying. I apologize to my regulars if there have been trolls here tonight. What have they been saying? Let me know. Send me a message and I'll make sure to look out for them next time. Or we'll get our chief like officer to be our moderator when it's on a busy night. All right, folks, have a great Friday. If you're just waking up, have a beautiful day. If you are going to bed, sweet dreams to you. And if it's around the afternoon time and you still have your Friday night ahead of you, have a wonderful Friday. Be safe. And always, 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 you know the rule here at Highbury Squad. Never forget to tell your loved ones you love them. All right? And I will see you on Sunday after the Manchester City match. And until then, squaddies, I'll leave you with some fun stuff. Why not? Apologies to my Aussie friends. Hashtag sorry, not sorry. Good night, everyone.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Would help if I hit the button.